Well, hey everybody, welcome back, and boy, do we have a special episode today at the Red Barn. This time, we prep the LS car for Luft 9. We go to Luft 9. The car gets mentioned by Matt Farah in his The Smoking Tire podcast, and then a picture of it shows up online in a road and track featurette. It's insane. Oh, and this? That's Racer Benz. We'll be talking about that in an upcoming episode. Enjoy. Well, hey everybody, welcome back to the latest happenings at the Red Barn. In the last episode, I mentioned I was working on some stuff to get the car ready for an event. Well, that event is Luft 9. So this beastie is going to be displayed alongside some of the coolest Porsches known to man. I'm sure Singer's going to be there, Gunther Works is going to be there, there are going to be some famous race cars there, super high-end 911 hot rods, you know, original cars, 356s, speedsters, race cars. And I need to do all I can to get this thing as tidied up as possible so we don't embarrass ourselves. But anyway, let's get to it. All right, so now I want to work on the floor carpet. And here's a look at the raw. Well, it's not quite raw, but this is the floor of the 914. And I've just laid down some noise canceling pad. And what's going on here, though, is there are these corrugated ridges in the floor. And you can see there's also a step right here where it just drops down a teeny bit. There's some other protrusions that I'll deal with here in a second, but what I want to do, I think, is try to, this is just making it up as I go along. Here's this piece of aluminum I just cut, and what I think I'm going to do is just use this as the carpet backer, again, to keep it rigid, keep it from moving around. But you can see that unless I put some kind of, you know, rubber foot on it or something like that, it could still scoot. So I'm going to try something. I'm going to mark where these corrugations are, and I'm going to run this through the bead roller and put a bead in it and see if that bead locks it in there a little bit, and see if I can outsmart it with a little bit of a, you know, sort of just key the backer into the floor. So, okay, this is the bead roller, and it's a powered unit with a speed control on it. So, and now I'm just going to give this, gotta set it up here with the right amount of, well, some tension, get things started. And I like to do this in a couple passes. And I'm going to stand over here where I can see the line. Now I am going to go all the way across. If I was going part way, I'd have to deal with, you know, distortion and shrinkage on the edge. And granted, it's a floor panel, so not that big a deal. But still, this makes it a little easier because I'm not going to have to do that. So I'm going to crank it down a bit and do another pass. And you can see that it's tipping up a bit. And I can just bend that right back down when I get done. But now you can see what this thing's going to do. And this is a super simple bead, you know, job, if you will. But you can see it's just starting to drop that down there. All right, and yeah, you can see it pulls it out of plane a little bit, but the good news is you can just tweak it back down. Get it flat. Now let's go see how it looks in the car. And you can see it actually works okay. It keys right down in there, and it does a pretty good job of keeping it from moving. I'm just using my hand to scoot it. Yeah, you can see that it's, you know, it still needs to be flattened. But I'm going to go ahead and lay this next bead in and then work it back to flat. Okay, after a little bit of tweaking, and it's still got a little bit of tweaking maybe left, but you can see that as soon as you put any weight on this, it really just locks right down in there. It doesn't really want to slide around much. So I think this is going to work. You can see there's a high spot here. So I think I'm just going to notch this piece out and let this sit down. So anyway, I think this is going to work. and I'm going to go ahead and put the notch in here and then put the carpet on it and see how we do. And a bit of tweaking later and some additional trimming, and the panel she is good. I mean, it really doesn't move around much. You can see that it's got a teeny bit of a bow in the middle of it, and I might go after that. I'll keep massaging it, but essentially that's it. I think this is going to keep the carpet from moving around, and since, you know, my feet are on it when I'm driving, I think it'll, you know, kind of everything will be held in place pretty well. So I'm going to go ahead and get the carpet, you know, tweak this a bit more and then get the carpet glued down and call this part done. Okay, there it is. Carpet's all glued down, and the thing's not going anywhere. Actually, set my little light down. It, you know, plus with the fire extinguisher panel put back in, this pushes down a bit back here and helps, you know, keep everything pushed down. So it looks, I think it looks pretty good. So there it is, one panel down. I'm gonna go update and make another panel for the floor over there, do the same thing on the passenger side, and just keep chipping away at the interior. So I did finish the carpet backer on the driver's side, and without going into all the detail, I made another one for the passenger side. Hard to see with the lighting and the you know, dark carpets and all, but this has got the same bead rolled indent that locks the panel into the floor, and so the interior is about as done as I'm going to be able to get it. But the stuff that got done looks really good. Now the other thing that got done was I went after trying to come up with a rocker cover, and this is what I came up with. It's very plain. I had to have the main shape bent by my local metal fab store because my brake is only 4 feet long, and this needed to be well, it started out as a 6-foot piece, and I wanted to kind of do something slightly different. I'm going to call this a tribute to the slant nose turbos, where the rocker is just a straight run from the outside of the rear flare to the outside of the front flare. And you'll see here, I welded some end caps on it, if you will, and then just squirted it with some SEM trim black. And, you know, there's the front end cap. Try to do something kind of cool that continues this shape down into the lower part of the rocker cover. It's also longer, you know, deeper than the factory panel, in that the factory panel comes down and locks in onto the body. Well, mine actually sticks down to below the pinch, just below the pinch weld. So it's a little bit longer, maybe kind of helps the car set, you know, have a visual look that's a little beefier and closer to the ground. But that one got done. This one's not going to get done in time, but this is kind of the process. So this started out as just a bent formed piece, you know, just two angles, a pretty tight radius at the top, and then a little softer radius on the bottom. And then here you can see I've just cut and welded on a little end cap on this end, and there's that sort of fancy shape on the front. And then, as I mentioned, because it hangs down below the body, I just welded on, just tacked on these little aluminum spacers, so I don't have to kind of, you know, the one that's on the car, I gotta, you know, I still haven't done this to it yet because I was in a bit of a hurry to get it finished in time. But it's just got like some plastic spacers in there that are a giant pain to get fitted while you're trying to get a bolt up through there and all that other stuff. So that's the rocker. And what else? I think that's about all I'm going to try to do is just, you know, I think the car is essentially ready to go. So, you know, we'll see how the show goes. Should be cool. Hey everybody, welcome back to another day at the Red Barn. We're out here bright and early this morning. Well, not so bright, but early. It's Saturday, and the LS car was accepted as a display vehicle for Luft 9, so we're heading off to the show. All right, here we are. We made it, safe and sound. And what a turnout. We're kind of down in maybe in the sort of the cheap seats, but there are nothing but cool air-cooled cars Well, except for that thing. And it just goes on and on and on and on. Now it's still a little bit early, so things will start happening here, and I'll just be checking in with a couple different views of things along the way. Talk to you then. Oh my God, I'm so bad at taking pictures and documenting things when it's not at the Red Barn. So the car was mobbed most of the day. Well, maybe mob's a strong word, but there were people around the car. Once the show got underway in earnest, there were people around the car almost all the time. Sometimes it was only 1 or 2. Sometimes it was, 8 or 9. And it was very well received. It was near as I could tell, it was the only non-air-cooled car at the whole Saturday part of the show. And like I said, it got a ton of attention. People seemed to enjoy it. The biggest reaction was, they would laugh out loud when they saw the motor and the drivetrain, and the other overwhelming feedback was, don't paint it, it looks cool the way it is. And then a couple days after the show, one of my buddies pointed out the Matt Farah, the Smoking Tire podcast, and towards the end of it, Matt calls out the LS car as one of his favorites so far, and they had some very nice things to say about it. And then it shows up in this picture on this Road and Track online, I'll call it a featurette. It was just a handful of pictures of cars from the show, and so it worked out pretty well. I was really happy at how the car was received. So there you go. That wraps it up for the LS car at Luft 9. It was a great day. It was great to get out and see all the cool cars and hang out with a bunch of like-minded Porsche enthusiasts. And I got to confess, it was gratifying to hear all the nice things people had to say about my build. But there you go. I really appreciate you guys watching. Any questions or comments, leave them down below, and we'll be getting back to you as quick as we can with another episode. Y'all take care. Bye-bye.